Hello everyone, I welcome you to the part 2 of this video where we are going to discuss the further steps of the process in the online retail shopping. So let me give you a gist of the things which we have covered in the part 1. We have loaded the data into the data frame successfully. We have performed the data cleaning operations on the data, and then we have also gone through the statistics of the data, that is the characteristics of the data, how the data is spread and various other things with description function, and also we have done mean, median and mode to get a gist of what the data, how it is spread across. And then we have also performed visualizations such as line chart, heat map to check how the data is visually. Now in this part 2 I am here to discuss on the task from 5 to 8. Analyze the sales trends over time. Identify the busiest month and day of the week with respect to the sales, because it's very crucial for any online store to identify the busiest month of the year and also the busiest day of the week, because as we have seen, not all days are equal with respect to the shopping and also managing the operations of the system of any retail store and or any commercial specific, and explore the top selling products in order to maintain the operations, and also getting the product to ensure that it is available to the customers at the right time, and also identifying any kind of outliers or anomalies and draw the conclusions and summarize the findings. Yeah, it's the basic thing. If you perform all these 5, 6 and 7, then you have the idea about how the data is spread across, and that's only this 4, 5, 6 and 7 tasks are the part of are a gist of the summarizations. So let me take you to the data set. So I have successfully loaded the dataset onlineretail.csv into my Google Colab, and from now we are going to discuss on to analyze the task 5, which is the day of the week and also month of the year, the busiest day and the busiest month of the year. So as we know about the dataset, we have seen that the dataset consists of gross values which we have declared as a column, which is the multiplication of let me show you, which is the multiplication of which is quantity and the amount which we have done. This is the heat map which you have done already. So here we have the data set where we have created a column of gross, which multiplies the invoice date and unit price, and we have extracted the year, month and day of the weeks. Okay, so let us go to the part 2. We have completed all these things in part 1 to analyze the sales trends over time. So I have created a month variable which extracts the month from the data invoice date. We have months from 1 to 12, from January to December, and it extracts all the months into the month variable. And now what I have done is create the, and also from the same invoice date I have used the function dt.day_name.values. So I have also extracted the days of the week, such as from Sunday to Saturday, and also I have allocated it to a variable of day of the week. Now I am in this specific third function, I am aggregating all the months, sales of all the months within that month, of all the year within that month. So I have used the sum function to aggregate all the sales of the specific month within the year, within all the years. Like for all the years we are calculating for busiest month and busiest day across all the years. And also I have done the same thing for the day of the week. I have used the sum function to aggregate all the to all the years or months data with respect to that specific day of the week. Now busiest month equals to month. I am describing the variable such as month sales dot idx max. Idx max is a function that uses checks for the maximum value of the month within all the months from 1 to 12, January to December. And also idx return backs the id or index number of the month. So I have also displayed it. So and then I have done the same thing for the day of the week. I have first, after allocating the value for each day, then I have performed the max function to find the maximum value of sales in that specific day. Then I have used that id to return back the index number of the thing. Then I am using the print function here, which is known as busiest month in terms of sales is. Now I am giving the variable which I have stored the index value in it, and also busiest day of the week in terms of sales is to return the busiest day. If I run this code, we can see that the busiest month is 11th and the busiest day of the week is Thursday. Usually people tends to shop on this end of the week churn days. As you can also see in my line graph, if I run it, you can see the 11th month is having the most sales across all the time. Therefore you can verify it that the 11th month is the most busiest month for the sales. I am using now I am here to forecast about the bar plot with respect to the sales trend for the day of the week. Now matplot, as you have I have already earlier discussed, matplot is used for performing visualizations using pie plot as plt. Now fixed size of 10,6 is 10 inches wide and 6 inches tall. And also the colors defined here are the colors which are generally taken for any data science because these colors resemble a good output or a good visualization to the other members who are seeing it. The main function here is to how you define the things. If you go here, plt dot bar of daily sales dot index, where the x-axis consists of daily sales and the y-axis consists of daily sales dot values, and the colors equals to, these are all the colors which I have used in order to make the bar plot. If I run the code, as you can see, for the sales trend by day of the week, you can see that Friday to all the days, Sunday, Monday, we can see that Thursday has the most number of sales values for as okay. This is all the general things. We set the title to sales trends by day of week and given a custom font size of 16, and the x-axis of day of the week with a font size of 12, and the y-axis as gross amount, the total amount which we have aggregated for the each day with respect to the year, and font size of 12, and plt.show is a function to display the day of the week. Now here we are doing for the who is the customer, explore the top products busiest month of the day in terms of sales, and the task 6, we are explore the top selling products and countries based on quantity sold. Okay, Now here one more task I have included here, that is identify the customer who is very crucial to you for the retail business, such as the customer ID. So what I have done here is, uh, so I have aggregated all the gross sales of each specific customer, and then arranged it in a max, used the max function to arrange it, and displayed the customer ID of the function who purchased the most within the retail store. Now I have used a variable customer total purchase and group by customer ID, where for the gross I have used the sum function to aggregate all the things with respect to the with respect to the each unique customer ID, the sum of all the sales which he have purchased. Then I have sort this in the descending order. So for the same customer total sales, I have given the function as sort values, as it contains numerical values, and use the ascending as false, which tends to make descending in a descending order. And I have converted it into data frames, as you can see, and reset index equals to, and I have used the function reset index. As earlier discussed, reset index is used to turn back the data frame into its specific format. Now I have calculated all these things. It's all this code is a general thing which we have tend to do in the data science field. The most important thing what you get see from the code is print \033m. This is ANCI escape sequence characters which are performed to say that the output or console terminal to say that this, don't print it as a normal one, print it as a command, where it prints the total customers as a command. And then we are also displaying it for the top 10 customers. As you can see, I have displayed all the things here in terms of a table from 0 to 9 with the head function for the top 10 customers, and the top customer ID is unknown in this data set, where the total purchase is this one. If mostly we see this thing in a list, in order to print the list I have also used the function as escape sequence 033 and 1m to bold the thing, and also make it a command with this NCA escape sequence character in Python. And I have then reset it with respect to the code. Well, here you can see that \033, and to reset it into the same thing, the 1m here is used because the 1m gives the thing as a bold. As you can see in the output, the 1m gives the thing as a bold, the later part is not bold. Because I have normalized it again with 0m, and 1m generally adds bold to the output console. Now seeing the task 6, top selling products and their countries. So as you can know, there is a description for the products. Based on that, we are providing the top selling products and the countries. I have also performed the same thing, group by description, and aggregated the things into total item cell variables. Then I have again did the descending order to make the descending of items for the same total item cell with sort values ascending equals to false to the most sold items variable. Then I have created the data frame with reset index. Then I have again identified it as n unique, that is unique ones, and then I have displayed it with the print function, with making it making the ANSI escape sequence, and also displaying the top 10 ones. As you can see, .com postages has the highest gross sale. The next runner is Regency cake stand 3 tier, has the second highest gross sales. Mostly these kind of things are printed in the list format. So the other code is this. I have used to make the console output as bold with 1M bold formatting up to this part, top 10 items, and then I have used the formatting back to return the items not bold. As you can see in the output, the items, the heading here is bold and the items is in the list format mostly. And also finding of the country with the most sales. If I run this code, you can see there I have performed the same function across all the countries, and UK stands out as the most gross sales. The retail store, most of their supplies are to the United Kingdom, followed by Netherlands and other countries. Here are the top 10 countries, and I have given the variable as country wise cell and group it by country, then aggregates with respect to the sum, and then top selling country as data frames, then the total countries, providing the same thing for the top 10 countries and displaying it the top 10 countries with head function. And also sometimes if you want it in a list, displaying it in the list format here. Now in the step 7 we can see that we mostly need to identify any outliers or anomalies in the dataset and discuss their potential impacts on the analysis. Outliers are generally, when you say an outlier is a part of the dataset that is extremely deviated from the actual value. The dataset mostly contains outliers, and also we need to identify outliers using box plot and standard normalization techniques such as z-score. I will go you through this thing. We were using matplot and seaborn, matplot pyplot function and seaborn, and the figure size is 8 inches wide and 6 inches tall. Now I am creating the box plot which is used to identify the outliers with respect to the gross value. Here we are taking the gross value because the amount of the total the amount total is the quantity and the amount of each quantity which is calculated within the gross variable, and I have given it some color as light blue and flyers as false by removing the outliers. And I have given it the title, distribution of gross amount, and also label as gross with a font size of 12. And also plt.show is a function to show the plot. When I run this code, as you can see, my distribution of gross amount for a particular variable, there is a box plot created with gross variable across it. Now, as I have discussed earlier, normally we find the outliers with respect to the normalization across the single variable, which is numerical variable. In our case, the numerical variable is gross, so we are using z-score as the normalization technique. Z-score consists of 3 main values: z plus or minus 1 standard deviation, z plus or minus 2 standard deviation, and z plus or minus 3 standard deviation. In z plus or minus 1 standard deviation, 66.67% of values are being recorded into after converting it into z-score value, and in z plus or minus 2 standard deviations we tend to record around 96% of the values, and z plus or minus 3 standard deviation we tend to record almost all the values, which is 99.99%. If there are any outliers, this z-score will display us. So I have used the z-score stats.z-score. We are using the function stats which we have been import with respect to the sci-fi. So I'm using stats.zscore on the variable gross, and also it is calculating all the gross values with z equals to, as I have discussed, with 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation and 3 standard deviations. Now the threshold what we are keeping is 3, and the threshold 3 is the mark. Above it, where the values are known as tend to be outliers, there could be as you can see the graph, there could be above the positive 3 or and below the negative 3. In order to solve this problem, we are using an absolute function which is nothing as which is the modulus, which converts any variable to positive form. If it is above 3, negative values are also converted to positive, and if it is above 3, we tend to identify them. So here I am using the threshold as 3, and I am using the absolute function to know the values which are above, greater than negative 3 or less than negative 3, with absolute dot function to make it positive and putting a threshold limit. Then extracting the outliers in the outlier mask function and displaying the outliers. This is the critical part where I have displayed the outliers. If you run this code, there are large number of outliers, so I have also used the outlier.shape function to identify the number of rows in it. As you can see, there are 397 rows involved in the involved as outliers and 12 columns. Now I am using the removing the outliers from my data set and also performing the box plot again to check for the consistency. Now without outliers, online detail, now I am using a not function to remove the outliers from the data frame into this part, and I am also applying the statistical summary for this thing. As you can see, we have, after removing the outliers, the value of mean, unit price, gross and month have been calculated for the maximum value and the minimum value, and also the standard deviation. Invoice date is not a exact variable here, so that is the reason, consider this, ignore it. We can also use the numeric equals to true, as we have discussed earlier, which removes this invoice date and also and only calculates on quantity, unit price, gross and month gross. So then implementing the matplot and the box plot without the outliers as the next part. If you run the code, yeah, now as you can see here in the function, I have removed all the outliers and created a figure with 8 inches wide and 6 inches tall, and giving the color palettes of the colors and creating the box plot. If you can see the graph without the outliers, this is our box plot graph, and you can see the code. This is the code which I have used to display this graph without the outliers. And the statistical summary, the last part of the process, which involves us to identify the draw conclusions and summarize your findings from the exploratory data analysis. The main thing what we can see here is among for the fourth and fifth one, and we also detected the outliers in the last part where I have discussed upon the outliers, how many columns are there and their potential impacts of the outliers. Now to summarize my findings, I can say that the online retail store highest or the busiest month with respect to November, that is the 11th month, and also the busiest day of the week is the Thursday, which I have shown here. The busiest month is the 11th month, which we have seen in also in the line graph with, and the busiest day we have, I have created a box plot. As we can see, the Thursday is seen as the busiest day of the week, and also to identify where the most of the exports are going, or to which country has the highest sales to which we sell. So we can see that it is United Kingdom, top selling products and the countries where the product is .com postage and the country is United Kingdoms, followed out by Netherlands and the other countries. The top products are .com postages, Regency cake stand 3-tier, and other tea light holders, party buntings. These are all the top 10 products which are being purchased by the customers, and the ID of the customer who is making the most purchases in our retail store. Here in this data set, the ID is unknown and the gross sale is this value, and the second highest purchase is this one with the ID number 14646. Thank you for your attention.